A legislation titled "A Bill for an Act to Provide for the Inauguration of the President and the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria," also known as Presidential Inauguration Bill 2016, was sponsored by the Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu. The crux of the legislation is to align presidential inauguration in Nigeria with what is obtainable in advanced democracies of the world. The chairman of the committee, Abdul Aziz Yanko, while presenting its report, said that the bill, if assented to, will be a welcome development as the National Assembly represents all segments of the nation.
It's important to state here that the bill is well drafted, taking into consideration all issues within the contemplation of the legislation of this magnitude. We shall endeavor to highlight briefly some of the salient adjustments we made on some clauses of the bill. Clause 3. Clause 3 deals with the inauguration and venue. The committee amended Clause 3, subsection 4, which is on the subclause 4, I would say, which is on the administration of oaths on the President and the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, as is set out in the table. The committee is of the view that such important exercise cannot be performed or delegated to any judge other than the Chief Judge of Nigeria or any person appointed to exercise the functions of that office.
However, the lawmakers deleted Clause 6 of the bill, which deals with the observance of relevant prayers and places of worship before inauguration. The legislation provides for the setting up of a Presidential Inauguration Committee, which shall consist of a serving member of the National Assembly as chairman, 6 members drawn from the legislature, 2 from the executive, 2 from the judiciary, and 2 from the civil society.
The importance on how to deepen our democracy and to adopt the best practices from other countries, we decided to bring it back for your consideration, because this is standard practice in most presidential systems, especially in America, where we copied copiously our own presidential system. And those who constructed our National Assembly also made provision for the arcade, possibly for a day such as we are considering now, in the hope that the president will be inaugurated at the premises of the National Assembly. And I think that is a standard, because the National Assembly is the symbol of democracy. And here actually is the temple of democracy. So it makes every sense that presidents should take their oath of office within the confines of the highest legislative body in the land, under the supervision of the people's representatives. So I think what we are doing is in accord with what happens in other democracies.
The bill is, however, expected to enjoy concurrent passage from the House of Representatives and presidential assent before it becomes a reality. In another development, President Muhammadu Buhari has written to the National Assembly seeking the confirmation of appointment of Aisha Ahmad as the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. In a letter read by the Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu, who presided over Thursday's plenary, the President said the confirmation was necessary as Mrs. Ahmad would replace the Deputy Governors who retired early this year. Buhari urged the Senate to consider the expeditious confirmation of Mrs. Ahmad in accordance with the provisions of Section 8 of the Central Bank of Nigeria Establishment Act 2007.
In accordance with the provisions of Section 812 of the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Establishment Act 2007, I had the pleasure to present Mrs. Aisha Ahmad for confirmation as Deputy Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, replacing one of the bank's deputy governors who retired earlier this year. Please find an attached copy of her curriculum vitae. While looking forward for your usual expeditious considerations, please accept, distinguished Senate President, the assurances of my highest esteem. Sincerely, Muhammad Buhari.
Buhari also sought the clearance of members of the Monetary Policy Committee of the CBN replacement of 4 members whose expires next month. Nominees are Professor Adeola Festus Adenikunju, Dr. Aliyu Rafindandi Sanusi, Dr. Robert Chikwendo Asogwa, and Dr. Ashek A. Maidogo. Also, the Senate has considered the request of President Muhammadu Buhari for the approval of external loan for issuance of $2.5 billion to finance the 2017 appropriation and $3 billion to finance domestic debts. Senate, however, referred the request to the Senate Committee on Foreign and Local Debts to report back in 2 weeks.